All right, everyone. Today we got a lot of ground to cover because today we're going to be looking at the August 2023 Pantheoner tournament. It had 120 players, the prize of 300 XP for winning, and started at the end of August and ended in September. Started with a round robin group phase of 8 groups of I think maybe 15 people in each group, so a lot of games were played. And let's look at the groups. So here's the different groups that were out there and the winners of each group. And then you can see here with my own group and how I did. I actually had a rematch with Plopzito, and both of us ended up getting out of the group. Only 2 of 15 came out of each group, and each of us lost 2 games. So my losses were both in military. So hey, there's the weakness. I got to work on not getting crushed in military. But anyways, my one game that I did have, I was very glad that I was able to have a rematch with Plopzito, who beat me in a Pantheoner game at one point, or in the Pantheoner tournament finals. We were both finalists, and he ended up beating me towards the end. I think just the one science I needed wasn't there. So let's go over this rematch right here as the first game that we're going to review of this tournament. I've got about 6 games that I want to go through, so hopefully these all don't take too long. But yeah, we're just gonna push through it and go to the end of the game and practice my commentating skills. So here we have the wonders drawing, and so I get 2 extra turns, and my opponent gets 3 extra turns. And having Piraeus, that's gonna definitely be helpful for sure. I tell you what. All right, and then my opponent gets the wood reserve and wood, so denying me wood completely for this game. And then I'm going to be going science like I like to do. So pushing in the science. Yeah, building my way to 6. All I need is 6, then can win the game. And with the Pantheon expansion, it makes it easy to get science. So Plopzito realizes this and grabs a science themselves. And then from there, um, let's see, then anything interesting happening? I guess I'm taking the Mesopotamian divinities and I'm deciding which one I want to put there. I put one really close to myself. Maybe I chose Ishtar. I probably chose Nisaba though, because I wanted to do that. And then my opponent puts one in the middle of him and myself. I grabbed the Tavern, which is a really great card to have early on in Age 1 so that you can increase your coins and discard amount and potentially buy a really great god. And start of Age 2, whoever gets the Tavern usually can have command over the gods. So yeah, go to the Tavern and you basically, that's where you worship right there. Some people think that you worship at the church. No, it's at the tavern. And then, I mean, look at the elos on us. It's a 578 and a 403. So both of us, really like kind of higher caliber players. We're not going to be making mistakes anywhere. And this move is very crucial. Plopzito uses an extra turn so that they are able to affect the pyramid and put the god card out there, but I don't think they put Raw out there because they know what I'm going to do is use an extra turn and not let them have the first starting turn in age 2. So it's a very huge struggle right there on who's going to do what. And I knew that they weren't going to put Raw out there close to me, but I think them putting Anubis close to me was interesting. I still have enough coins that they're not going to be able to grab the gate, so I'm going to focus on grabbing more science at this point. My opponent does grab 7 coins so that they are able to then have enough to take Tana, and now their coin lack of coins is no longer a factor, and I need to take the gate ASAP because the next turn they're going to try to raw me. And do I get raw? I actually, let's see if I ended up getting raw. If I got raw, then it would be just game over right there. But no, I didn't get raw, so we're not playing a raw game, and which is a very interesting way to play. The Pantheon expansion is widely regarded as everyone's like the best way to play Seven Wonders Duel. With a caveat, people don't like playing with Ra, and people have said online that their favorite ways to play are when Ra is not in the game, and that when gate is taken, Ra is not taken. That 1 in 2 chance maybe, or 1 in 3 chance doesn't occur. Well, this was a 1 in 2 chance, and I did not get Ra. But otherwise, I definitely would have taken the Appian Way from my. But taking Misaba, I was able to get a science card that symbol that I needed for my opponent. It doesn't even show you what I could have taken, so maybe I could have taken Ra, and I just decided, hey, I've got 2 extra turns. It doesn't matter that my opponent has 1. I have extra turn dominance that I'll be able to get the science symbols I need. Why not use the gate to get an extra science symbol rather than using the gate to take away an extra turn, which may or may not guarantee a science symbol? Like 100% for a science symbol, or extra turn is like 80% of the time grants you a science symbol. Like Mausoleum, I'd say like 70% of the time gives you a science symbol. An extra turn, like 80% of the time, gives you a science symbol. And so if you have 2 extra turns and you have 4 science symbols, that's like, a good chance you're going to get those last 2 science symbols with those extra turns granting them for you. All right, back to actual gameplay. So I use Zeus to get rid of walls. Not sure why I did that. I think, um, well, anyways, I end up using an extra turn because I'm low on money and I need to make sure that I can get Law because my opponent has taken Ishtar. And now we are both at 1 extra turn. Each of us has 1 extra turn. My opponent, because I used that extra turn right there, I am going to start this next age. No, I won't actually. I caused it so that my opponent ends up starting this age. But with my extra turn, like I have 5 science symbols, there's really no way to lose at this point. I'll show you I have the Sphinx left over as an extra turn. Sorry, my face was just really not doing you guys any favors. But now you can see right here, you can see that I've got the extra turn, and no matter how many brown cards my opponent has, it doesn't matter. Yeah, brown and gray cards are just terrible at this game. You want to be grabbing yellow and green cards. All right, so that was the first game, and that took us 7 minutes. Okay, so there was that, and then what ends up happening is we all make it to the finals right here. All these players make it to the finals. These top 2s, and the top 1 doesn't play the bottom 1. And so what I mean is like if I was not going to be playing Plopzito. Plopzito was going to be seated somewhere else in the tournament. So it's random though, I think, but nobody played the person that they also played in their group at the start. I could have replayed Plopzito right here had I not lost to Bldiet and won against Roman Vashagan, a very good player. But I actually lose to Bldiet right here. And here was the sad game right here. So please look at it and give me some pointers on how I can win in the future. So let's see. Yep. So yeah, just be looking out here. What could I do in the future to win here? So we're at the Wonders choices, and I'll slow roll this one because this one's important to me. It's kind of sad for me because I want to figure out what the problem was. Obviously, the first choice is I'm going to take Temple of Artemis. I even start this game. And sure, in a 3 extra turn Wonder draft, the person who starts is at a disadvantage. But starting in this game, I feel like, with my experience in the game, I'm playing against a 300 level player. They're good, but they shouldn't be able to have such an advantage over me, with me being the start player, at them their only advantage being 3 extra turn wonders and myself only 1 extra turn wonder. I get the exact start that I want. I like Tavern, and I like the green science cards. They even reveal some cards to me. They do put a Greek card close to myself, and I really don't really love all the Greek cards at all. Hades is fine, but putting Greek cards next to your opponent, that's a real good move there. So already great move on my opponent there. They're in charge fully of these gods. They're putting them wherever they want. You need wood to be pulling off a science strategy. You do not want to have one opponent having both the woods and it not being you. You're going science. All right, and then see that I end up taking a clay because, hey, look at my wonders. They are going to need some clay. Then, see, so yeah, taking the mythology token for Greek and putting it close to myself, so they're going to end up getting the gate close to them. And yeah, I end up taking the gray card. I don't normally take gray cards, but when they're there, sure, I'll take them. And when I have 9 coins, like, makes sense, like, keep grabbing them. I do take the reserve because, I like reserves. They give me more coins towards the end of the game, but my opponent is going to try to steal a wonder from me. So they're going to put raw close to themselves. And this is where I think I may end up losing the game. That may have been the bad decision right there. Nah, there's nothing really that I could have done here, maybe. I do take that science symbol, so I'm glad that they allowed me to do that. Oh my gosh, so they didn't use 2 extra turns? Okay, so, it's been a while. Maybe what happened in this game was maybe able to steal raw from them. Oh, okay. I wasn't able to. I didn't have enough coins. Yep, I didn't have enough coins to be able to get the Temple of Artemis. That was a huge flaw on my part. And here's where my opponent strikes, and they end up taking away Temple of Artemis from me. So, yeah, I got rawed in this tournament. Very sad game. So, leaving my opponent with 4 extra turns and myself with none. And now it's like, okay, well, is there any path to victory? Let's see. So, I end up taking this science building, taking economy, thinking, hey, each of their wonders costs a lot, particularly the Appian Way. Maybe I just grab a bunch of resources the rest of the game. Maybe use Circus Maximus to get rid of their glass. Then we play a resource game. But getting the science symbols is probably not going to, getting all 6 is not going to happen because I don't have the extra turn advantage. I do start pushing in military because if I am going for points, it's good to push in military. It's good to commit to military. So don't, if it's the last card, like in the round, pick your military. Don't fall for that. But I'm hoping to combo it up with another one. Plus, I've got Colossus. Like I could just really have an advantage in military. But my opponent uses an extra turn to do, I don't know what their plan is there. But maybe, okay, so they find a way to not have to worry about losing a great resource to me. And then I'm going all in on points because my opponent sure isn't going science, sure isn't going to win in military, so it's going to come down to a points type of deal. My opponent uses gate, and I think this is where what happens. Do they get Anubis? No, no. They get Ball, and they take away a resource from me. So now I'm really suffering in wood. I need wood, and not for my wonders per se, but I need wood to pull off a science strategy. Or a lot of strategies really use the wood. I think the culture does and the military does. So everything uses wood in this game. But from Enki, I choose to just get 6 coins. I think that was a fine choice, and getting some points from it as well, because I'm thinking the game's coming down to points. My opponent is really pushing the wonders a lot, or their extra turns and using them all up, but that ends up revealing a science card for myself. So now I'm sitting pretty at 4 science cards, and that will make my opponent hopefully have to worry about science in the next stage and give me a point victory. Or maybe by some miracle give me 2 science symbols, but they have extra turn advantage against me, so I'm not really expecting that to happen. And then, see here, yeah, oh, my camera is all messed up. So, alright, so now we're facing the right direction at least. That was bugging me. Okay, you must choose an age card or activate a card from the Pantheon. So, I guess I just keep on pushing in military and hoping that it works out for me, that I can really push enough in military and really push enough everywhere that it ends up coming down to points at the end. So they keep pushing in military. Don't grab that one horse breeder's military. I wonder if it bites me in the butt later. Um, Hades could become a military for me as well. No, I do end up grabbing the horse breeders for an extra military. I like leaving Zeus out there because then I can grab Mausoleum for whatever they discard from me. And then, this was the move. I remember this was so dumb of me. Oh my goodness. I was on vacation too when this happened. So my opponent, I should have used Hades way earlier on. But so my opponent, they get to choose what they want to do, and they think, okay, don't give them any science stuff. So they use an extra turn right there to use both extra turns and take away that possibility from me. And then they get a nice flip where they can take away a science from me. It doesn't matter. I don't need the science anymore. And because they've taken both possibilities for science with those 2 wonders constructed. But now I am at the mercy of them. Let's see. So it's going to come down to military or points, probably military. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to military to victory. So I have 1, 2, 3, and then maybe 4, 5. So it's all going to depend. My opponent could use Hades to grab a military. And what I should have done is used Hades right there to grab a military myself. But instead, what I do is I discard for coins. And then my opponent builds their last wonder. Sure, that's fine. So I'm not going to be able to get Circus Maximus. And then I do the most dumbest move right here. And I think I can use Zeus to discard a card, put it in the discard pile, and then construct it later with Mausoleum, or with Hades. And I forget my opponent also has access to Hades, has just enough coins, plenty of coins actually, to build it. And then they get a 3 military push, making it so a military win is just not on the cards anymore. So that was so dumb of me to do. And so then they end up just pushing in points. And I, frivolously try to keep going in military, but it is not going to happen there for me. So already got Rod, and then had a cool opportunity where I could have used Hades to grab a military from this card. I could have, I only need 7, so there would have been 1. Then uh, Colossus would have been 2, and then I could have used Zeus if he wasn't paying attention to get 3, 4, 5, and then I would have only needed 2 more military. Yeah, it was just such a sad bummer. Oh, yeah. And my opponent had used all their extra turns, so they were at the mercy of how the cards were going to flip anyways. So, yeah, that was just so unfortunate at the end there. And, yeah, so sad. I think right now I end up just playing military just for fun right now, because I know that there's no way I can win. Like, even if I grab a 7-point card, like, my opponent has the extra points from the Grand Temple. It's a guaranteed loss for myself. And yeah, that was such a dumb move to use Zeus when the opponent had a clear advantage with also having Hades there that they can draw from. It's just so sad. But very well played by Bldiet. BDLIET. Very good. And yeah, it wasn't even close at the end of the game. I think it was just a complete blowout. So I made it to the round of 16, but got crushed by Bldiet right there. Just a super dumb move. And I always keep making these dumb moves, and that ends up keeping me from making it to the top a lot of times. So, anyways, beat me by almost double points. And now we move on to the next part of the stage of this video, where I want to look at the path of this player, Nikki. So Nikki ends up making it out top of her group, and also Roman Vashigan, a very good player, makes it out of their group as well. And this group had a strap. It had a ton of great players here. Also, each of them lost 2 of their games, so nobody, in either of our groups came out with 14 out of 14. But yeah, a lot of great players. Emil Chesky is on there. UV Jelly, a finalist from last Pantheoner tournament, was there, and we can see how each of them did. But yeah, as I hover over them, I guess it highlights their games. And this one shows only Emil Chesky's encounters. Okay, and then we can see UV Jelly's encounters. And then we can just look at Roman Vashigan's. And Roman actually does end up beating Nikki right here, but it doesn't matter, because we'll look at the path of how Nikki ends up winning this whole tournament at their very first game right here. So yeah, looking at the whole thing right here, the whole path that Nikki plays from the bottom to the top of this round of 16 to round of 8 to round of 4 to finals, and we'll see how this ends up working out. So I'm excited to see this. So we just went through the sad part of this video, and now let's look at the happy part for how the victor of the tournament ends up being crowned queen. All right, so their very first game. Let's see through. What are they gonna do? Is it gonna be a science? Tends to be that way with Pantheon, but I'm just gonna push through to the end of the game. All right, so very first choice, take the Divine Theater. That was a good move, very good move. And then taking Mausoleum, hopefully, right? Okay, interesting. They take the Great Lighthouse. I wouldn't have taken the Great Lighthouse. I would have taken the Colossus and the Mausoleum. But let's see how the Great Lighthouse works for them. My theory is whenever somebody takes the Great Lighthouse, they don't end up building it. But just because there's so many pressures early on in the game that it's easily forgotten about. And so the ability of building the Great Lighthouse early game doesn't actually play out. But let's see what happens. And the late game ability of the Colossus actually does play out because they don't get rocked in military. It acts as a shield and also acts as an aggression. All right, so see. I mean, that's why the shield is on the military tokens, because it's a tug of war. It works both ways, defensively and offensively. It's the beauty of military. So we've got one science for each player. Nikki ends up discarding. It's at 8 coins. Pianak, same thing, and now at 7 coins. And Nikki knows that there's a red god close to their opponent that they placed, and Pianak has chosen a Phoenician god close to themselves and a Greek god close to Nikki. Now, Pianak definitely going to take that yellow card, and now Nikki is really in trouble because with 3 yellow cards for the opponent and none for her, she's at a huge disadvantage for coin growth through the game. But thankfully, a very lucky draw, a flip that allows her to get the tavern, which is probably the best one to grab in her situation and in most situations. I would say there's enough gray and brown cards to go around that you can rely on you don't have to rely on the yellow cards to get your resources, but the coins is so important to get those extra 4 coins. I'm telling you, rather than spending 3 coins to have some discount of wood reserve later. So yeah, getting 4 coins and getting more coins from it later on, not having to pay 3 coins and then gain the money back for that. So we're seeing the start of this age, and Pianak starts the age, so that's already a bad sign. Nikki's got a 3 coin discard is acceptable. Yep. But Pianak, they've got a 5 coin every time they discard. But Nikki again gets the Brewery, a very good card for the same reason that I just described. You want coins in this game. Nobody at all has taken gods. And then finally, Nikki grabbed Ra early on with the Divine Theater. That's right. And then she grabbed the Temple of Artemis. Very good move there. And then Nikki going to use the Temple of Artemis to get a science symbol so that she can get the theology. Very aggressive move, but it's going to probably work in her favor because the other option was allowing the opponent to do it. Allowing the opponent to take Nisaba and getting something like that. So now, Nikki able to use Nisaba to copy a science symbol. Potentially, she's going to be able to get to 4 science symbols. No, she would need the wheel. And I'm not sure that the wheel's going to come up for her. She's going to need law somehow. Potentially she gets it from the gate. But she's really getting rocked in military. She goes down, and we're looking at, I'll move my face here. She's got 10 coins left, and then just paid a bunch of coins to use Minerva to block that military onslaught that is coming from her opponent. And she puts it kind of one step away just to block like a 1 shield military, I would imagine. But then uses Mausoleum to push a little bit further in military, so that if the opponent does build Colossus, that they don't collide with the shield just yet. She'll be at a good situation there. Okay. Ooh, very tight, very very exciting game right there. And then the opponent grabbing mysticism, which is going to pay off because they've got 4 of those different divinity tokens, those mythology tokens, and that's just going to be a ton of points there, 8 points to be exact. And now we're looking at Nikki finally pushing forward in military a little bit more, and it's going to come down to points, I'd imagine, because neither person has a way that they can get. No, both of them can rely on the gate and maybe Ishtar. So hopefully Nikki ends up grabbing the gate when she can, when it is important to, and the opponent gets to 16 coins and could take the gate from her, and then she could close it out with a science victory. So I spoke too soon. Science is definitely still in the picture. And like I predicted, did Great Lighthouse end up getting built? It did not. It did not end up getting built. And so it may have been better for her to have grabbed Colossus, but But who knows? Okay, finally, the last wonder, when it should have, be based on the ability of the lighthouse, should have benefited best as the first wonder. It ends up being built as the last wonder. A very common tale with the Great Lighthouse. So that's just my small critique with this gameplay is that, yeah, like, take Colossus over Great Lighthouse, but that's just me. Okay, so next up, don't worry about saving yourself with military. You're set. And you may end up getting a science card from this flip. Okay, so Nikki grabs the science card. She is at 5 of 6, and she is at 31 points. The opponent is at 32. Boom, the opponent just got a bunch of points with Aphrodite. The only way that Nikki can win is by taking the gate and solidifying a science victory with Ishtar, and she does it. Very good. Okay, if it had come down to points, did I speak wrong? Would she have lost? I think she would have. That Aphrodite jump of 9 points was just too much. Plus, they had the pyramids. That's just so many points. So, all right. Very great. Excuse me. Very great game. Very exciting to the end. That was a huge push in military, and already right there. So from there, Nikki climbs up, going from Pianak to Perger. Okay, so we're seeing how the game went with Perger. All right, so very exciting game. Loved casting that one. So now we're going to talk through this next game with Perger. Don't know anything about this player. We'll see how this is going to work. So very exciting start with the Wonders selection. Nikki is starting this out. At the time, she's at 400 level player, facing off a 300, almost turning 400 level player. Nikki's going to choose Temple of Artemis, I imagine. The opponent's going to take Sanctuary and the Statue of Zeus, maybe, because Great Library is not as useful in this one, because Theology's there and Law's there. I mean, I would still take Great Library, but wow. Yeah, I was not expecting a giving away. Okay, so I think there's some statistics out there that if you're facing up against somebody who has 4 extra turns, you're going to lose. Um, yeah, whoops there. So yeah, she ends up getting pretty far there. Tons of mileage she's going to make with those extra turns. And now, all right, let's get this LG token out of the way. Okay. Let's see. Anything important to note here? All right, Perger's got placed probably a really bad god close to Nikki. Probably didn't put Raw close to Nikki. Nikki's doing great with her yellow resources this game. A lot better. Yeah, 3 yellow cards this game. That's going to be a ton of coins. And so Nikki's not worried about coins at all. I think this is just Nikki's got it in the back. And then, Perger's going to put Law close to themselves. Hopefully Nikki just uses those extra turns to take Piraeus from the opponent. And if they don't build Piraeus in H1, which a lot of 300 level players will do. And then, let's see here. So very first turn of H2 generally is to take Raw. Man, I think Perger just was like, well, I've lost it. Maybe that was a misclick in the beginning of the game when they took the Statue of Zeus and the Great Library. Because, yeah, you want to have 2 extra turns, so if they do Raw one of your extra turns, you at least have 1 more. You have a little bit of control in the fight. It's like going into a fight and you have 2 arms, and if they cut off one of your arms, you still have 1 arm. But you're not going to be winning that fight if you come in with you purposely chop off one of your arms and you say I can do it one-handed. Yeah, don't do that. So anyway, I think that's how fights work, right? You chop each other's arms off. But anyways, so now So interesting. The pyrotechnics, or it's not called pyrotechnics. What is it called? Polyursetics. Polyursetics, which I think still has something to do with fire. I don't know for sure. Maybe it has something to do with siege warfare, but like cannons and stuff. Anyways, so so it's making Nikki lose some coins, but it's nothing to really be commented on at all. Nikki's doing a great job just keeping her extra turns high. Even takes the apology for no reason at all. Why did she do that? Okay, and again, Nikki really likes to play uh danger zone and allow for somebody to push her around in military. But she knows what she's doing. She knows that there's a if she needs to, she can just block it, and then if she's baited the opponent enough in military, then she has the advantage and she can push him back easily. But the problem is she only has one coin, so that's very dangerous in my mind. Like, okay, so she's going to what in the world? Okay, so she uses um a god so that she's able to take an extra turn, basically. And she could have even won the game right there, but no, she wouldn't have the coins to take the science that she needed. Okay, finally she has the coins to get the last science and close the game up. But that was close. That was very close towards the end. It's just interesting watching this play style of this player. How they'll allow themselves to get really they almost bait the opponent to come on you can beat me in military why don't you try and then they find a way they find ways to make it so they couldn't get in the military. And I'm not even doing this cast as good of justice as I did with the other one. I apologize, but there was a really cool move there where using uh, Isis, she was able to use an extra turn uh, so that she could um, discard a card. But had that card been a military card underneath so a double military, like a military covering a military, when that card gets uncovered, the opponent does end up winning and using the military against her, I think. Um, yeah, that card would have been a 3 military potentially, and they would have had enough. They had 7 coins at the time. Yeah, they would have sunk her right there. So nail biter right there. Nikki just allowing the opponent to get very close to her in military. I mean, that's exciting there. Okay, so next up, this is we're gonna go back here. This is now Nikki's at the semifinals playing against Draymond, and we're gonna watch her gameplay right here. Just exciting stuff. All right, moving on to the semifinals, and we're playing against Draymond 2, who has an elo advantage against her, and she is starting player. So she's going to probably take the Sphinx, and then they are going to take the Mausoleum and Colossus. If they're smart, if they're dumb, they take the Great Lighthouse. Okay, cool. So just because Mausoleum is so much better than the Great Lighthouse, I feel. Okay, so then Nikki ends up taking Glass. And then Draymond ends up getting the wood. Okay. And placing the Roman god close to Nikki. Now, Nikki ends up taking. Oh, okay. So she's going for resources and allowing the opponent to grab yellow cards. Okay. So that's an interesting call. She ends up getting a yellow card anyways from it. I wonder if she's hoping to grab the tavern. She's hoping that the opponent flips up a tavern for her. But she's got 2 extra turns, so a good chance of getting something she needs. Now, Draymond has control of pretty much all the gods where they're going, as second players should. Ooh, Nikki not taking the tavern. Very interesting play. She has 0 coins. Why would she do that? Okay, so it's interesting that she values the gray cards over the tavern. Um, okay, so we'll see how this ends up going, especially because the opponent has a way to destroy one of her gray cards. I would almost think that the tavern might be better, but we'll see how this ends up playing out, and where the god cards end up being placed. My thought is Ra is not out there, and it's going to either be accessed via Divine Theater or Ra is going to be accessed by the gate. And the opponent has so many coins, but Nikki is going to start out. Okay, so she's going to get Rod really fast in this game. Wow. She discards for coins, but it's not enough. The opponent has enough coins to raw her. And this is just heartbreaking. She loses her one extra turn. And now the opponent has Divine Theater. That what are they going to do with that? I'd imagine the opponent is going to Draymond is going to use the Divine Theater to crush her with military potentially, because they're not going for science. Okay, so they're going. They are not a science player. They are not a military player. They are a let's get a lot of coins player and see my options. And yeah, Nikki ended up needing to use 3 coins from her Astarte, so not really great for her coin situation at the moment. It may have been better for her to have taken the tavern when she could have, but she was able to use the press to be able to get the Great Lighthouse early, so she won't be hurting too much in resources. And luckily, takes the Great Library, builds the Great Library, needed to use Astarte's coins to do it, but got her economy, and now she's going to be expecting to get a lot of coins from economy. So she's basically saying, okay, you want to play a point game, buddy, let's play a point game. And economy is part of the progress token economy is part of my way I'm going to get there. I'm going to deny you what? I'm going to deny you clay. I'm going to deny you gray resources. And that is how I'm going to beat you. I'm also going to be taking a lot of blue cards in age 1, and then pivot with that. Now, interestingly, the opponent doesn't want Nikki to push her around in military with Minerva, using Minerva to block that, and pushes themselves a little bit against Nikki. Are they hoping to do a military win right here? Potentially they are. But the problem is a military win is just not in the cards for somebody with lacking in play. Potentially it could happen, but that would require Nikki to have no clay, which she does not have any clay. So we'll see. We'll see how this ends up playing out. I mean, we know that Nikki wins, but that's what I would be thinking at that moment. Is like, ooh, potential for a no clay military victory. That would be interesting. I mean, you've got the coins for it. You've got the coin generation, and really, coins are even more important than clay for a military strategy. All right, so I mean, you got the highest coin card in the game, the 8 coin 3 military card. What do you call that one? That's the Praetorium. So that's a possible, but uh, but no, let's look at the points. I think Nikki's really crushing it in points. She's built all of her wonders, so that's generally going to put you at a higher look as far as points. If you're saying like, all right, so how many points does everyone have? All you need to do is look at the points of the there to see it. Okay, so well, let's see. Um, yeah, Nick. Yeah, if you're going to be looking at a points victory, all you need to do is see who's built most of their wonders, and that's usually the person who wins in points. All right, so using the Divine Theater to allow them to have an extra turn with the Sanctuary. That was interesting. Why not just use the Divine Theater to... Oh, both the point gods have been taken. Nikki has taken Aphrodite and Astarte has been taken. I didn't see that Aphrodite was also taken. I was talking about something else at the time, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Nikki's really doing the right moves. Even though she was at such a huge disadvantage, the opponent just yeah, they used their extra turn a little early, and yeah, it's just maybe not going to work out for them. Now, 3 of the temples is usually a good chance of winning in military, but my gosh, like Nikki ended up pulling it off great and ended up winning in points. So bravo there. That was a nail biter. When I saw that she got Rod early on, like I was thinking, oh, it's over for her, but no. And now we go on to the finals. Okay, so this is where that player from the beginning that I played in the beginning right there, and have both won and lost against them. Plopzito. Um, uh, Lost against them in the finals, but won against them in my group stage. So of this Pantheoner, and lost in a previous Pantheoner finals. This player is playing against Nikki, and we'll see. So both of these players I have high respect for, Nikki and Plopzito. Both of them, I believe, are 400 level players, and we are going to get started looking at Nikki's perspective throughout this game. So let's see, the very beginning of it is going to be the choosing of the wonders. So she gonna choose Ireus or Sphinx, or which one? I think the right answer is Divine Theater, and then you lose both your extra turns. Yep. So she loses both of her extra turns, does get Colossus, that's exciting. And then now Plopzito is going to take Hanging Gardens, and she gets left with the worst extra turn wonder, which is Sanctuary. And I say that with love because I do like the Sanctuary for what it's worth. Like it does give you the -2 cost for the God cards, but really that encourages you to build that wonder early. And with a science strategy, you want to build those wonders late, after all of the gods have been taken, because that's when it really matters. You want to be defending against military in H3 with those extra turns, and you want to be taking those last 2 science cards. So, meaning the effect of the Sanctuary does nothing. So let's look really closely here. Nikki has taken the Tavern, going for science right here, and I think Plopzito takes a science. That would make sense. And then now, where are they going to place a Roman god? Probably close to the opponent. I feel like the Greek and the Roman gods you put close to the opponent, or the generally when you draw those tokens, and you don't want to put Mars next to your opponent, you don't want to put Hades next to your opponent. But that's generally how I think it looks with those 2 types, the Greek and the Romans. And what's funny is actually the Greek and the Roman gods, they have names for each other. So Mars for the Roman one is actually like Ares or something like that for the Greek, and same thing, like Aphrodite in Greek then turns to Venus in Roman. So it's kind of interesting how they chose to do it like that. They're the same set of gods, and I think actually all of them have similar things. Maybe Astarte is also another form of a Roman god potentially. Anyways, so we're getting off track. So here we have a 3-2-1, 3 brown, 2 gray, 1 yellow strategy going for our Plopzito, and those usually end up being a very high gray. Like you've gotten plenty of gray, um, and allow for some science pushes. So I like the 3-2-1. Love Plopzito's economy actually. Okay, so but Nikki ends up pulling out and getting theology, which is going to help her a lot. But Ball ends up getting triggered by Plopzito, stealing away the clay from Nikki. And now, using an extra turn, they're stopping Nikki from getting yet another progress token. Nikki ends up taking of was that economy versus engineering, and she took engineering. Okay, and then so we're rushing the gods right now. So Astarte got taken by Plopzito, and then Nikki rushing the gate, grabs the gate. Nobody wanting to do the flip right now. Grabs Ishtar from the gate. That's a really great one. And now Nikki's sitting at 4 science symbols and an extra turn, and Divine Theater still not played. Incredible. Nikki can use the Divine Theater to trigger Nisaba to take the science symbol of Plopzito. This is, you know, tale as old as time. It's going to be ending in a science victory for Nikki. She knows it. She's excited for it, probably. She just needs to make sure that that everything continues to go her way. She's even got Mausoleum to defend against the opponent using Zeus to sink one of those Age 3 science cards that she'll need. So, okay, so a random science card gets deleted there. Yeah, I think the only real way that Plopzito wins is they end up winning in military because, yeah, the one bane of a science strategy is an aggressive militant. And now Plopzito is going to be able to, what, get 6 coins? Or, oh, Polyceretics, okay. That may be useful, actually, to block the science victory. That's all you really can do is try to block it like that. So Nikki losing in military, but okay. Why? Okay. Why give up the science card? Because she had the coins at the time that she would need to get the last science symbol. Perfection. She does it. Wow. Oh, wow. So she had theology, which allowed divine theater to be a double turn. Incredible ending to that game. All right, so I was thinking, yeah, why did you not just take the science that you need right there and then hope to, discard some cards and get it to the end? No, she wasn't playing that game. She didn't want to lose a single coin more due to military, and she was ready to go. Wow, so very exciting moves there. Yeah. Anyway, so that is how Nikki ends up winning the whole tournament. Very exciting game. I wonder how if it had continued. I don't want to do too much post game analysis, but if she had not done that move, like I probably wouldn't have realized that I could do that. Um, just in the spur of the moment when I was thinking of it, I was like, oh yeah, sure, take the science. And I may have done that. So that one gets taken. We don't have the luxury of being able to see what those ones are, but we know they're not 3 militaries. Um, but she takes that one. And the opponent maybe takes this middle one and makes her have to reveal a military card to the opponent. Um, Maybe they discard it for some enough coins so that they can take either card. Yeah, that's what they would end up doing. Even with 4 coins, that wouldn't be enough to get this one. So then Nikki takes here, and then they're not able to build the arsenal. Unless they use an extra turn to do it, in which case they do. They are at an extra turn disadvantage at that point. And then 1, 2, 3 military gets pushed, and then Nikki has no coins left to get the Divine Theater, which ended up costing her how much to get the Divine Theater? 7 coins? All right, so then she needs to make up 7 coins, and she's already sitting at potential to lose 5 more coins. Yeah, for the rest of the game, she would have been at a military or a coin disadvantage due to the military pressure. And as soon as she got 5 coins, trying to get to that 7 coins, this happens all the time. When you're needing to get that Divine Theater triggered and it's expensive, they keep pushing you down. It's lower than the 5 coins that you need. You finally get to 7 coins or whatever, and then they lower you 5 coins. So yeah, very, very exciting end to that. I think towards the end, let's say they get another 2 push military. Say towards the end, they would need yet another 2 in military to really sink the game. So Nikki still ends up winning, I would say, if she had not done that killer awesome move in the very beginning of that round. But I think she still wins in science. She just needs to postpone it and discard a bunch, which to get to 7 coins really just takes her 2 discards. So yeah. So Nikki had this game. Very cool, exciting one, and nobody triggered raw. Nobody triggered raw in that game. There was a rawless finals. So both players going a little bit into science. Every single person tried to push Nikki around and tried to beat her in military throughout the whole, after the group stages, the finals, starting from round of 16 on. Every single opponent tried to push her in military. Nobody could do it, and that's just really exciting to see. So, congrats to Nikki on this month's the August to September Pantheoners, and now we're gonna move into October to November's Pantheoner tournament. starting this month. So, anyways, hopefully you all enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day. Bye.